Yep. Breathing it's interesting. So, um, as I mentioned, right, I work in addiction and mental health recovery. And the one thing I will say to the audience, to follow up on Tarek's question and my answer, sometimes if you're panicked, if you're having a panic attack, breathing will exacerbate that problem, right? If you're focused on your breathing, but you're already having issues breathing, that's not the solution. So then what you want to do is you want to ground into the present moment. So touch, feel something, feel the wall, like look at a color, try to ground into the moment, like where you're at, and then breathe, because a lot of
Right.
times people will try to breathe when they're already panicking, and that can make it worse. And I think that that's an important um note to highlight, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. And it depends on the situation, and and we're sharing our experiences. We're not like uh, doctors or anything that tells you this is how it is, because like everyone is different, and everyone does operate and different, and even experiencing reality is subjective to the person. So I might
Perspective.
experience it in one way. Yeah, Kerri can experience it differently. You experience it differently. See what works for you, but whatever works for you. The best thing is that you noticed it when you caught it and you noticed it. That's the best, because if you don't notice that, that's the first step. Once you notice it, then you can deal with it. But you haven't noticed it, and you let it run on automatic, and you keep doing the same thing, and then you're like going from one emotion to another emotion, and you're spiraling to things, and that isn't going to really help.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I
Well,
appreciate you coming in and asking questions.
I really do. Thank you so much. And please, if you have any other questions, very, very grateful for your engagement. Um, and I want to touch upon and agree with what Yanko said, and I think it's really important. The work that we do is a culmination of strategies and tools and applications that both Yanko and I have experienced throughout our own journey, right? To become the healers that
Yep.
we are in this moment, whatever that looks like. However, to Yanko's point, all of that is a framework because we are so individualistic, and so it's really important. Yes, Tarek, you completely recognized that, but also that if anybody's watching, you play. If breathing doesn't feel right, if touching the couch doesn't feel right, try something else, because as long as you come from a place of curiosity rather than judgment, which judgment could be like, oh, I'm never going to get over this feeling, or oh, I'm always going to think negatively, or oh, whatever, then you can't learn. But if you come from a place of curiosity and say, okay, they said to breathe, but that's not working. What else can I do? You will eventually stumble on something that feels really supportive and right for you. And as you do that, you'll learn new tools and strategies to continue your journey.
Yeah. In my experience, also, you always get what you need when you need it, and you get it right when you need it. So you're always supported. Life, life happens for you. So enjoy.
Yeah. Well, it's so funny because you and I know that. And yet, because of the community I work in, it's true. And yet, when you experience trauma and stuff, that can feel really hard to hear. And so I always encourage people, I'm like, what's that mean, life happens to you? Well, even if that feels icky sticky, what are the things that experience you were going through or gone through um taught you? If nothing else, it taught you something, right? Being an abuse survivor, or being fired from a job, or whatever, that can feel hard, right? When people say, well, that happened for you. Totally get it. But if you look at those experiences from curiosity rather than feeling like, badly about it or judgmental about it, you will find that you benefited from whatever experience you had. But you have to step back from that, like, judgment of it, and kind of look at it from a more unbiased perspective, which is a practice within itself, I think. Would you agree, Yanko?
Yeah, everything it's a practice. Like from the day you were born, you practiced breathing for first time. And then you practice walking. And then you practice speaking, and you were bad at it and you were saying things the wrong way. But then as practice progressed, you get good at it.
Yeah.
So the bottom line is, if you really want something, it'll happen for you. It'll happen. But the problem is that most of the time we don't know what we want.
Yep.
That's the problem.
Yeah, and
Yep.
I mean,
So
it's interesting you say that. So, if anybody's been, if you've been watching this show from the beginning, y'all know I'm working on building my glutes, right? Like, I have this goal in mind, but I wouldn't know what I was going to do at the gym if I didn't get clear on what the result was that I wanted. And I think that so often in life, people kind of just go along to get along. Okay, society said I need to go to school and college, and then I get a job, I buy a house, I have 2.5 kids, get an animal, get married, have, cars, and maybe go on a couple vacations. So if you start to look at, okay, well, does that even feel really good for me? And what is it I really want to do? What do I hope to accomplish? When you start to get curious and come up with a goal, even if it's a really small one, your brain has a reticulating activation system, which means it's going to start to direct you in the area in which you've
where
gotten
you
clear
going?
you want to be on, right? So if
Yeah.
you know, okay, I want to work on my glutes, my brain is going to guide me, interestingly enough, to the things that I need to do to achieve the goal that I want. And so you're spot on, and I agree with you, Yanko. Most people aren't clear about what they hope to achieve, and so they're kind of walking around aimlessly in this life, in this, like, unclear state. And then as soon as you start to get dialed in on what you hope to achieve, small things will start appearing so that you can actually achieve that goal.
Yeah, and I want to see if I can tell people how I actually do it. Like if I'm unsure about something, I usually go within and I visualize it and I see what will come out of that. Say I want to have a new car, then I'll go through the whole process of like imagining it. Because like when you imagine a thing, your brain does not know the difference between real and not real. Because for the brain, it's real when you're imagining things, and if somebody haven't done that, they can try to imagine a lemon right now, and they're probably going to start salivating just by thinking about the lemon, not
Yep.
that there is a lemon in the room or anything. So when I go on that exercise, I can go to as many details I want. Like I can go into the details of like how I'm going to a different car dealers, or how I'm looking at a different cars, and I can see different colors of cars or different models of cars and different interior, and see what it feels okay for me. Like How did the seats feel like when I go in the car? And imagine the whole process. And then when you get to it, you go through the whole thing and you can see on the end or have the experience of like actually happening and kind of saying that maybe that wasn't the thing you wanted. Maybe you just wanted to have the experience of having the new car. And then when you feel like, maybe that wasn't it, then you jump on the next thing that you wanted to, get or whatever you felt like you needed. And you can continue to work on that to see where it goes and what comes out of that. Like you get
Yeah.
that, then okay, now that you have that, what comes out of that? Like say I needed a car so I can find a job. Okay, now you have a car. What comes out of that? Well, now I'll go look for a job. So okay, now you have the job, but then what comes out of that? Like you have the job. Well, I need the job to get to whatever else I'm going, and that's my plan. Or maybe along the way you figure that you really didn't need that, jump from this step to this step to get to the other step. And that's how I usually do it, and I think it's doable for anybody to do, and they can experiment with that and have fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I love visualization. I've been doing it for years now. In fact, a lot of the one percenters will tell you. I mean, think about Kobe Bryant, right? And I only use him because Nana, my significant other, is like a basketball freak and those are his boys. But he like not only did he practice physically, but he visualized the shots he was going to take. He visualized running up and down the court. He visualized, and some of the greatest thought leaders will tell you that you need to visualize what it is you want to have manifest, you want to have come into your life. And it is a practice. And the thing that I would say for anybody out there who's new to visualization, one, you do it all the time, because I know Yanko, especially being a hypnotist, will tell you that you go in and out of different states of consciousness throughout the day. But if it feels hard, right, because it's new to you, yeah, your mind's going to wander. So what? Come back when you catch it. It's going to wander. So what? Come back when you catch it. Visualization is no different than working out at the gym or learning a new skill or going to a job. It's just a practice, and you just have to trust that it gets easier and easier as you do it.
Right. Not everyone is good at visualization. I'm not really good at it. Sometimes I have to practice and like start with something simple, like maybe a watermelon, and then when I visualize it, then I can start going into like details and the colors and the stripes on the watermelon. Or maybe there's like a yellow spot in the watermelon, and how does that feel and where's that go? I'm more of a feeling, which it's kind of a different because everyone is unique. Like either feel here, see, or you can sense, or you can smell. There's different things that different people experience. So whatever feels natural to you. If you get a feel for it, go for it. Go within, get the feeling of what it feels like, and then go to the next feeling and whatever that feels like, and then goes to the next feeling or whatever that feels like, and then keep on going. And in that'll kind of give you a sense of where you're going. And like Kerri said, thoughts will come in, and that's the job of the mind. You get distracted, thoughts will come in, and that's okay. I sometimes I kind of say, okay, not right now. I'm doing something else. I'll get back to you.
Yeah.
Like thought will come in, like, oh, you haven't paid your bill. I'm like, oh, not right now. I'm kind of busy. I'll get back to you, and
Yep.
then that keeps coming. So, yep.
One thing that I notice is you keep bringing up fruit. Are you hungry? Because I'm chuckling. You like, I love watermelon, so I'm over here salivating as you're describing it, because I can sit and
Oh, I'm so sorry
honestly,
about that. No, but this is something I actually started with, and this is what I read on like some of the books on visualization, because like I'm not really good at visualization, and so that was an exercise that I was doing for quite a bit of time,
yeah,
because like it goes in the details where they say, well, Now that you're able to practice and you visualize the watermelon for a couple of weeks, now next week or whatever, when you get it, then you go even deeper when you're slicing the watermelon and you look inside and you look at the colors inside, and then you can go deeper and visualize even the seeds inside of the watermelon and what color they are and go even further with that.
Well,
So
you know what's
that's why
crazy?
that was the first thing that popped to mind.
I can visualize it
Go ahead.
while you're doing it right now. Like my brain immediately is like breaking it down, and I'm thinking of the texture and the scent and the rind and I'm like, I could go for a piece of watermelon right now. I'm just saying, but but going back to it, but but I think you touched upon a really important point, and I know we talk about it often, but I don't think that we can say it enough, is that you have to do what feels good for you, right? It has
Right.
to feel right for you. There's no right or wrong way to achieve success at something. But it is important that you recognize that it has to resonate with you, right? Like I work with people and help support people on their journey, much like Yanko, but we do it in different ways. And it's only because it feels right for me and he does what feels right for him. And because we do what feels right for us, we're able to achieve results that are profound, right? Because we're not listening to what we think we need to do. We're not following a book's verbatim. We're doing, oh, okay, this makes sense for me. And I really want to impress upon people. And I said this yesterday in my community too. Our job is as supportive guides and whatever it is we are, right? Like, however you want to define it, is not to tell you how to live. It's to help you get curious so you can figure out what feels right for you so you can live and feel good about whatever it is you experience in this world, right? Yeah. Want to add to that, Yanko?
That's right. Yeah. Give you a different perspective. That's all I can say. Because like sometimes, yeah, sometimes you just need a different perspective.
Yeah.
Somebody to tell you, you know what, like this is so interesting that you brought it up. I never thought about it. Maybe I'll try it this way, or I'll try something else. So if you're open to different perspective, because like everyone is different and everyone has a different experience, it's a wonderful thing. Wonderful things will happen or happening
Yeah.
because they're happening.
Well, it what you said about different perspective reminds me of a book I read years ago, and it's called Think Again by Adam Grant. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. And it was such a profound read for me, and I'll tell you why. Because essentially he goes through all the scientific data and stuff, right? We know that our belief systems are embedded into us from in utero to about 6 or 7, all that, but we never stop to question our beliefs. But when you start to question your beliefs every 2 to 3 years, you realize those belief systems are outdated and probably don't serve you, or at least some of them don't serve you. And so when you talk to other people and get different perspectives, and you come from a place of curiosity, then you're able to then consider a different strategy, a different possibility of how you could move through the same experience and all of that stuff. And that's really what I would encourage anybody to do, is to question your own beliefs. If you don't feel 100% good, yummy, awesome, um ask yourself, does this serve me? Maybe it does in the moment, right? Like, watching somebody struggle that you love isn't going to feel great, but or maybe the idea doesn't serve you. So just kind of being open to new perspectives and then playing with them to see if it's a good fit for you and how you want to experience life.
Yeah, yeah, wonderful. And I want to remind our people that are watching us, if you have any questions, drop them in. We'll like to chat and make this more engaging and answer any questions. And like Tarek was asking earlier, it's a wonderful thing. So, and
Yeah.
please follow us on social media. We do that every Friday, 1 p.m. Central to Eastern and 11 a.m. Pacific time. Um, and
I'm I'm
go
curious,
ahead.
since this show is for no particular reason. I have a no particular reason question. Do you have a favorite color?
I do, yes. You want to know my favorite
Of
color?
course.
It's blue.
I love it. That's a
What
throw
is your favorite
shocker for
color?
anybody. You know
I
what?
know.
Interestingly enough,
I know.
my favorite color is blue. However, my power,
Really? You
yeah,
have the same?
favorite
Wow.
color.
Okay.
I wonder if it's because we're both May babies. But
Maybe.
interestingly enough, my power color is black. Like, and I think that's what drew me to the question because your shirt today. I'm like, ooh, Yanko's rocking like my color. If you notice, I'm generally in black and I love black. In fact, I had a woman who looked at my website, a website designer. I didn't ask her to look at it, but she's a friend of mine, and she was like, Kerri, your website's just far too dark. You can't have it that way. I said, I can have it any way I want, and I like the color
Exactly.
black.
Exactly.
I'm
It's
like,
your
I'm not changing
website.
it.
It's your website. You can have it any way you want to.
Absolutely. I'm like, I'm keeping it. Yep. So your favorite color is blue. I love it. As you can tell, it's kind of the theme in my room for a reason. Yeah. And
Yeah.
so, interestingly enough, I truly believe I was born with my throat chakra open. And for anybody out in the audience who's like, what is she talking about? I've essentially had verbal diarrhea of the mouth since I could talk. Like when I was 5 years old, I got the award in kindergarten for most talkative. And I feel like I'm going to be 44 in a couple of weeks, and I still could totally take that award. And that's the color of your throat chakra. So I feel like it's been cracked open since I was born.
Yeah, with some people it works that way. And you don't realize that colors can have an effect on you because they're vibration as well.
Yeah.
And for the longest time and this is kind of like why you want to be mindful of like what colors you use in your room or your bedroom or whatever colors you want to have in the house all around, or if it's just like white, it's pretty kind of okay with pretty much everything. In green will help with the heart. In blue with the throat. It's
Yep.
yeah, yeah.
Well, it's so funny because white is the epitome of boring to me. Like I go into all these people's houses and I'm like, "Bleh." Because
It's all
obviously,
white, right?
I mean, if you can't tell out there, audience, I'm a little bit unique, and I mean, I'm a colorful person, so to speak, and so I love color. I just it just and in fact, the way I met my boyfriend, I was sitting outside a gas station and he gets out of the car and I noticed he had bright yellow hair and a ton of red on. And that's what drew me to him to spark a conversation was I found the color palette he was wearing very interesting. And so, clearly I'm not shy. So I'm like, hey, dude, you have a unique look to you. But that's the thing is I love expression. I love color. I just love it. So white is never gonna be the color.
It's
So Nana, if
yeah.
you're out there, we ain't having a white house if we ever live together. But he already knows because I give him a hard time. Correct says I feel people's energy when I um feel taking away from them, and it feels to me as if I'm helping them. What's your
Yeah, I'll
guys'
bring
thought?
it on
Hang
the
on.
screen.
Go ahead. You read that again, Yanko. I'm going to read it again. I think I need clarity, Tarek. So I'm from what you said, and I am you like to absorb their negative energy and take it away from them. Is that what you said?
I think that's how I'm understanding it as well. If he wants to type in a follow up on that,
While
and then
he
we're gonna
does,
bring it up to our audience. Yes, he says yes. All right, there you go. He responded.
um, okay. Do you want to go first? Or do you want me to?
No, go ahead because you got the thought. I don't want to interrupt, and then I'll go on it.
I don't take away people's energy because that's the experience that they are having, and I don't know why they're having that experience. However, I do bring my energy to the table, and it's going to do one of two things for them, right? They're going to be really repulsed by it because it's going to feel icky to them because it's a unrelatable energy, or their energy will shift, right? So if I walk I like you, I'm highly intuitive and I can sense exactly where people's states are, right? But it's not for me to assume whether or not they should be in that state or not. I don't know. That's like me telling them how they should experience their journey. What I
Right.
will not do is I will not shift my energy to meet theirs. And so, if a person is open to shifting their energy, then they're gonna absorb some of the positive energy that's coming from me and be affected. But that has to be their choice. And I'll give you a really good example. Yanko and I were in a different state before we jumped on this show, and then just our energetic vibration kind of shifted in our interaction, but that was our individual choices. And I really do try not to project how I think somebody else should be experiencing whatever it is they're going through. That's just my personal position. What would you say, Yanko? Yeah, of course, you're right,
Yeah,
Tarek.
I would say the same thing because at the beginning I wanted to do this kind of thing to anybody, but then we're living in the free will, and everybody has different things that they have to learn, and it feels to me now that if I do something without the other person's like agreement or asking or even being curious, I don't impose upon them. Like I don't go and say this is how you should be because I'm not shooting people. Like it's their choice and they're learning something from it. And for me to go and do what I think is right because I don't know. It always this exact thing every time I'm in that kind of situation, I think of that um, Alan Watts quote where he says, "Let me help you set the monkey to the fish not drown by bringing you up on the tree." So how do you know that you're actually helping somebody or not helping somebody, and you're just not doing something for yourself, thinking I am great, fitting up your ego, like I'm helping all those people and everything. So that's how I think about that.
Yeah, but you're right, Tarek. I mean, people obviously absorb energy, right? And so it's interesting. um I'm not like you. I absolutely can feel people's energy. And of course, so here's the thing. I work with people who are seeped in active addiction and severe mental illness, right? So I want you to think about that from the energetic vibration perspective, and we can absolutely measure energy. um these are people who are in low vibrations. When I'm around them, yes, they are being infused with my energy, and that has a temporary effect on them, but they've hired me to do that, right? But I also do have to take care of my energy, because even if you say it doesn't affect you, you are in a space of other people's energy, and if you're not like releasing that, you are taking it on, like, because we're all one. So I would just say, just be mindful. And look, I agree. We just talked about shifting energy through movement, through music. through conversation. So it's not that we can't be supportive and just, but I help people shift their energy by just being me without assuming that I need to do something for them. And if it shifts their energy, all the better. That's like a bonus, but it's not something I feel I have to do intentionally, you know?
Yeah, you just show up in love, and that's all it needs.
Boom.
Like you
You
don't.
said it.
Yeah,
Like and
yeah. You
and
don't. You don't.
yeah, cuz to
Yeah,
me love, unconditional love, is meeting a person exactly where they're at with no expectation and loving them for that, you know? And I really, really work incredibly hard to do that. And I find, to your point, Yanko, when I'm in ego and I think that, like, think about it, and it's like the dying bee analogy, right? We see a bee on the side of the road, and it's, you know, its life is ending. It, like, its physical experience is ending. Um, it's not my place to kill it. Like, but my ego is saying, "Ooh, this thing's suffering." And you could potentially put it out of its misery, but it's not my place. I don't think it's, you know, unless the bee tells me kill me, I just don't know that I would do that. I don't know. Oh, that's
how to protect
such
my
a
own
great
energy now? He asked.
question
Yeah.
to rack. I'm gonna let you, Yanko, go ahead. You want to go there?
I don't know, because like at the beginning, a couple years back, I was protecting my energy, but now it's more of a boundary, not as like going in an energetic level. I just set boundaries up with whoever I am, and that's kind of like, yeah, here you go.
Oh, Gil, my
Yeah, there you
another
go.
amazing, brilliant person. The question is how to protect your own energy. So it's interesting. I'm like you. I have boundaries, so it's, I know when I I just know, right? But you know, for there were many ways that I protected my energy. You know, there's cord cutting, I intention setting. People visualize lights around them, crystals. Certain people use salt. So there's tons of different methods. I've used different crystals at different times in my life. I've every time that I have a client and um oh, of course, Tarek, I love the people I work with, but that doesn't mean I want to absorb their energy. It doesn't take away the fact that I don't love them. It just means that I want a clear channel of energy for myself. And I have, like, it's important for me. And so boundaries is just getting clear on what it is you can do and what it is that you're not able to do in that moment. But for me, I love that. So yeah, so no permission to enter her energy, right? Kind of like what Yanko and I
There you
said,
go.
where there's boundaries. You know, there's just like that boundary that
Yeah.
you're not going to put your energy into my space. And that's a, again, that's a practice. That's like a intentional setting of your sphere, and you just get really clear on that, you know. So very, I
It comes.
love,
Yeah.
no, go ahead, Janko.
I was gonna say there comes a time when you outgrow the need of protection because you're just vibrating in a different energy, and there is like a huge difference. And people that are not matching that energy, they're just gonna turn around and walk away. They're
Yep.
not. There's not gonna be any need to protect yourself from anything. Um, Even like, yeah, when you know it, you know it. When you get there, you know, like there's no need for protection.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, well, it's so funny because,
And
like,
Gail has a follow up.
yeah, yeah, like you just observe what's going on. But I'm going to follow up with what you said, Yanko, in that there are people who I immediately sense their discomfort. And usually, interestingly enough, some of these people are immediate family members. And so I kind of remove myself from their space, not because I don't love them, but because it's clear to me that they're very, very, very uncomfortable. Like you just, it just, I make them nervous, but because they're conditioned and unconscious, they can't put context to why they feel that way. And because I know, I just remove myself so that they can feel calm, like, or whatever, because they don't know and they don't want to know. And it's not for me to tell them where they're at, right? They've got to figure that out for themselves. So, um, any last words before we sign off and say peace and chicken grease for the week?
I don't have anything. I was just gonna add that usually, even when you observe, it's not enough because you're not you only doing about, I don't know, let's say, in my experience, maybe 40% visual, because I'm not really visual at the beginning anyways. But you have a lot of other sensors that are running a background, that are running in like a deeper with the subconscious. So it's not like you might be just sitting and not even doing anything and giving signals to the other person that something's up. Like you can be in public, you don't know anybody, but they just feel like, you can be on the bus or something, and the body to body energy, everything just exchanges. So yeah.
Yeah, it's so true. And that's why it's interesting, right? Because you and me will get on and you'll be like, hey, are you feeling down? I'm like, I'm not feeling that. Are you feeling that? And that's the thing, is it doesn't matter. We definitely can register, especially when you're in tune with, you just, I don't want to assume for everybody, but for me, I just sense, I feel, and I
Yeah.
definitely am aware of the energy that I am in.
And,
So
and it takes practice because sometimes you can take somebody else's feeling for your own feelings, and that's kind of weird too. Like
thank
you
you.
can be in the room and all of a sudden you feel sad and you don't know why you feel sad, but there's a feeling, and then you start looking around, or you feel like anxious. Like I had that experience a couple of times, and that comes with practice, like actually observing. And then I turned around and I said, hey dude, are you anxious? Like what's going on? Are you like having a panic attack or something going on right now? you know
You know what?
so yeah.
I'm gonna go 1 minute over because I wanna respond to that because you're spot on. So I work with clients who numb out a lot, and what I have found, um, with many of these clients, is all of them are highly intuitive. And because they've never been taught that they are intuitive, and they are not only contending with their own feelings, but they're also contending with, interestingly enough, a lot of their family's feelings and or the people they're around most. So they're absorbing all of this anxious, depressive energy and taking it on for themselves. And when I start doing work with these people, I start to break that down, and I almost always, like, I'll kind of get a pulse on their family and stuff, and I recognize immediately they're intuitive, and I have to start to teach them to practice that, because once they start to identify that it's not necessarily their feelings, they're able to free themselves from suffering that wasn't even theirs in the first place.
That's
Up,
right.
I froze again, didn't
Yeah.
I?
No, you're okay. I'm just agreeing
Cool.
with you.
Yeah. All
So
right.
let's wrap it up. Tarek says last words. He says, pleasure, guys, engaging with you today. Come on back next Friday. We'll love to have you. And please do engage with us. We'll love to be in kind of conversation. You don't have to agree with us. Share your thoughts. Send us an emails. For anybody else that's watching this on the recording or anything, we'll be happy to answer anybody. And thank you
Gail
for
and
stopping by.
appreciation. Have a blessed, joy filled, and most of all, laughter filled week, guys. Until next time, big love.
Bye bye.